My Fortnite map went from 1k to 14k a day, and I changed nothing but the thumbnail. So not the gameplay, not the loop, not the retention, just the image. I changed from this to this. So by the end of this video, you'll have the exact formula to build a thumbnail that 10x's your income. Steal all of it, I don't care, let's go. So here's the truth. You're not making less money because your map is worse. You're making less money because you don't know what a thumbnail is actually capable of. So it's all mindset and just knowledge, because once you see what's possible, you can't unsee it. So let me show you what's possible. Real numbers, right? Straight out my dashboard. A map with, let's say, 700,000 impressions in one day. You should aim for around 10% click-through rate. So this is not total impressions in your dashboard. This is if you filter by one day and you have this amount, you should have 10%. Most people, they even get like 100,000 impressions in one day and they've got 1% click-through rate, which is just horrible. Even if you've got 100,000 impressions and you've got 5% click-through rate, that's not good, because once your impressions actually go up, so from 100k to 700k, that 5% here usually goes down to maybe 2.5%. So once you've got 700k and you've got 10% here, then obviously it should be way higher on 100k. So for my own dashboard, for example, like this map hit almost 5% click-through rate on 13.3 million impressions in one day. So that generated me over $14,000 in one day, 40,000 CCU, one map, one day, and that's ultimately what you should be aiming for. And the thumbnail I showed you earlier, like this one, this had like a 1% click-through rate. And it's very common that thumbnails like these don't do well at all. But do you see that gap? The gap from 1% to 10% is a 10x gap. So it literally went from $1,000 a day to $10,000 a day, just changing one image. 10 times more money, one picture. That's why this is my favorite lever on the entire platform. Like, you have to realize that in order for someone to find your map, the first thing they do is they see your thumbnail. Okay, then they click on the thumbnail. Then they load into your map, and you have the first 1 to 5 minutes. And then you have the core game loop. And then you have the shop. So the first step of all of this is the thumbnail. So when you're in this, this is the Fortnite discovery page, and you've got all your different games here, right? These are just different thumbnails. For example, most creators spend like weeks or months on building the actual game, but 5 minutes on making the thumbnail look good. But the thumbnail is the only thing standing between your map and every single kid scrolling past it. Like, a great map with a bad thumbnail makes nothing, because nobody ever sees the map. So you have to fix the image first. It's the single highest leverage hour of work you will ever do. All the kids flowing in, millions and millions of kids flowing in, this is where it all starts. So how do you actually do it? So there's two stages. One is winning the scroll, and two is winning the click. So let's break down both. Winning the scroll. So when a kid is scrolling, you have 1 second max to hook him. That's it. So your only job in that second is make his eyes land on one thing. One clear focus point, right? Not 5. So you're scrolling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 things to look at, right? When I'm scrolling, I've got one main focus point going on here. All right. Your eyes are instantly drawn to this. Yes, you can count this as a second one, but it's so minimized that his eyes, when he's scrolling, they will kind of go, because like 50% of people view the top left area. That's why you should always have your text there. But their eyes will just kind of go like this. They'll quickly go here and then to the middle. So the human eye doesn't read a thumbnail. It snaps to the brightest, highest contrast point first before the brain even kicks in. So that's not an opinion. It's just how vision works. So you don't fill the thumbnail with a bunch of crap, right? You build one spot that the eye can't help but land on. For example, this. Or this. Or prison escape. Look at this prison escape one, for example, right? Bright orange suit on a black background, lit up. So your eye snaps like instantly to it. You didn't choose to look, it grabbed you. And that's the 1 second catch. That's your hook. And this one, right? A character looking directly at you. When something makes eye contact, you look back on reflex. And that's why for years, every tycoon use the fish stick skin staring dead at the camera because it worked, right? It used to be the best move, but something beats it now, and I'll get to that. So a face making eye contact hijacks your attention like instantly because you're wired to look back before you decide. And here's a deeper one. If a kid's brain can't understand your thumbnail in a single like glance, he doesn't stop to figure it out, okay? Right? If he doesn't understand this within a second, he doesn't just stop and say, okay, well, what's this about? He keeps scrolling. There's so much for him to, there's so many games. He's not gonna waste his time to try to figure yours out. He scrolls. So simple isn't lazy. Simple is what the eye rewards, right? So too much going on, too much effort is gone. And again, quick pro tip, always put your text top left, top left, top left, top left, because we're trained from childhood to read top left first. So that's where your eye starts every time. So put your words where the eye lands already, right? All right, cool. You caught his eye for 1 second. Now you've got about 2 more seconds to do 3 things. So 1, you buy time. 2, you convince him. And 3, you get the click. Right, so there's 3 ways to convince him. And the real move is the one that gets you to 10% click-through rate, is stacking them. So let's take them one at a time, right? So 1 is curiosity. You want to show him just enough to make him wonder, but never show the actual gameplay. So the only way for him to find out what, the game is really like is to click and play. So a gap between what a kid knows and what he wants to know creates a real itch. And by clicking is the only way to scratch that itch. So show everything in the thumbnail and there's no gap left. So there's no reason to click. So if you hide that, then you force the click. So test it. I mean, can you see the gameplay in this thumbnail? No. Do you want to? Yeah. So how do you find out? You load in. So this thumbnail has done that, and it's done, it's done really good so far. A few $100,000 in profit. On curiosity alone, by the way, there's no other factor in this, because we talked about there's multiple factors to make someone click. Curiosity is just one of them, right? So, and he's just doing that. So number 2 is wow factor. So for wow factor, if I go to Sniper One Shot and I filter by all-time peak, you see that this has had one of the highest click-through rates there's ever been, because this 100k peak was before all this brain rot stuff. Like, most people would get 20,000 CCU, 30,000 CCU. This guy at the time broke a record for 100,000 CCU. This was absolutely crazy. But what you see here, this is wow factor. So you don't show gameplay. Again, you show something insane, explosions, massive scale, or just something like, 99 kills. It stands out. It has a wow factor, something that, couldn't be real. It just looks crazy. So you can make it like this, for example, as well, 70k. The sniper looks crazy. The sniper looks crazy, right? They all look very crazy. And the crazy makes you want to see more. And then we get into my favorite, which is number 3, dream outcome. Now, thumbnail games do this extremely well, and that's why these peaks, which is coincidentally, they have got really high peaks, when they see your thumbnail, he should see himself winning, getting rich, becoming powerful, having the time of his life, because that's gonna be me if I play this. That's what he's thinking. So don't show him having to, grind to get there. Show him the destination, right? Even travel companies do this. They never show you or tell you about the flight. They always try to sell you the vacation. So that's what you're trying to do in the thumbnail. He doesn't want to think about working to get there. He wants to see the dream already achieved as him. And we talked about the value equation in another video, but I can repeat it quickly. It's just dream outcome times how likely he believes it is possible for him to achieve in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort. So you're setting the outcome, not the grind. And here's one thing nobody even talks about. It's called risk perception. So here's a mistake that quietly kills amazing maps, right? When you make something like completely brand new and unique, for example, just random games like this, totally unique idea that nobody's seen, that's a risk from the player's side. So he doesn't know if it will be fun. For example, some other games like this, Cube Royale, So just because he doesn't know if it will be fun, he does the safe thing and he plays something he already knows will be fun. So your map can be a masterpiece and still get 0 clicks purely because it's unfamiliar. Because, simply said, people are wired to avoid a bad outcome harder than they chase a good one. So a familiar looking map is a safe bet. A totally unique one is a gamble. And kids don't gamble their time. So saying like might be amazing loses to I know this is fun every single time. So here's the fix. You want to tie your new game idea to something they already know they love. So don't name it Cube Survival in the thumbnail yet, because nobody knows what that is, so it reads as a risk. So frame it as something familiar first that gets the click, and then later when your map's already stable and proven, then once it's gaining traction and the idea is validated, you rebrand, change the thumbnail to Cube Survival, and call it that in-game while they play. And this is exactly why tycoons are always usually a safe risk for kids because a tycoon isn't a risk. Everyone already knows they like tycoons. You're just giving it a fresh theme, not a fresh gamble. It's different but not risky. Same with prop hunts, for example. It's they're different themes, but everyone knows what a prop hunt is, so there's nothing risk to try out a new theme. So here's the pro move. Here's how you actually hit that 10% click-through rate. So you don't just use one of the things we talked about. You can combine them. So for example, thumbnail 1, you can have wow factor plus dream outcome, okay? And you just combine those in thumbnail number 1. In thumbnail number 2, you can combine curiosity, right? Plus wow factor. And then in thumbnail 3, it's going to be a tycoon. So there's already zero risk. So my thumbnail, for example, that we talked about, you've got your wow factor, it stands out. You've got your dream outcome. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be, it's even in the title, I'm going to be rich because this is going to be my villa. And there's no risk because it's a tycoon. And there's curiosity because I haven't seen the gameplay. And that's why I got 30,000 CCU, right? So it has everything combined. It's all stacked together. So all these levers combined, one image, that's a 10% click-through rate thumbnail. The best thumbnails on the entire platform are running these, 2 or 3 of them combined at the same time. What's really sad is I've watched creators sitting at 1% click-through rate making $50,000 from their map. Like their click-through rate sucks and they're making good money. So imagine how much money they could make if they did the same as me and they just changed their thumbnail and even got, to 2% click-through rate. Like a lot of people don't even A/B test enough, but that's the same as making 50K, 100K. And if he did what I did, that could be 50K to 500K. So it's a single biggest lever, and that's why I love it so much, and that's why it hurts me to see people not do this. So here's the next question for you. Once you've got 2 great thumbnails, how do you know which one actually wins, right? You don't guess, you test it. So that's the next video. It'll be about A/B testing your thumbnails. So, the data picks the winner for you. But here's the recap once more. So 1, you win the scroll in the first 1 second. So 1 focus point, which could be, brightness, contrast, eye contact, and always keep the text top left, okay? 2, you want to win the click. So there's 3 ways to do this, and we talked about stacking them. So first we have curiosity. You hide the gameplay and force the click, okay? 2, wow factor. So just make it look, insane. Make it look crazy. And then my favorite one, dream outcome. So this is going to be me if I play this, right? That we talked about the value equation a bit. So you want to avoid the killer, and the killer is the risk perception, right? So you make a new idea feel familiar first, and then rebrand it once it's proven. And then again, the pro move is stacking like multiple of these together to get that 10% click-through rate. That's the whole game. 1 image, 10 times the money. And if you want me to look at your map or your thumbnail or whatever, go to discord.gg/mapmastery, press on my name and DM me map, and I'll take a look at it.